Today we're working on the large family craft, and in these videos I'm going to show you how to take your project from start to finish. First, we're going to start with preparing our craft and our paper. All of our word kits come pre-sanded, but you'll want to lightly sand over the front and sides of your crafts. Pay special attention to the sides to remove any imperfections from manufacturing. Sanding the sides is not required, but I think that it makes the final project look a little bit nicer. Next, we're going to trace our letters. Choose which side of the paper you want displayed and lay that side face down on the table. Use a sharp pencil to trace around the letter. Next, you'll cut the letter out. You'll want to cut just inside the lines so that they don't show on the craft and so that your paper doesn't hang over the edge of the wood. When you're cutting out a hole, it's easiest to just follow the same line that is already cut out on the wood craft. Once you finish cutting out your paper, it's time to paint and glue. First, you need to prepare your supplies. Get a piece of foil out to use as a palette for your paint. Choose your color and put a small amount down. Next, select your brush. I find that the sponge brushes are best for gluing and the bristle brushes are best for paint. So we'll use this sponge brush later on. When you start painting your craft, I find it easiest to start with the sides. That way you don't make as much of a mess while handling it. Paint over the entire craft, front and back. The back is optional, but I think it makes the end product look more professional. Apply a second coat if needed and let dry. The next step will be gluing the paper to your craft. Now that your letter is painted and dry and your paper is cut out, we need to choose a glue. You can use Mod Podge or white glue. Today we'll use the Mod Podge. Pour a small amount on your foil and dip your sponge brush in it. Coat the front of your letter with a light layer of glue. Don't use too much or it may cause your paper to ripple. Also be aware of any drips on the sides of your craft. Now you apply the paper. Make sure to line up your edges before you press it down. Once it's lined up, rub the paper everywhere to ensure contact over the whole craft. You can use your fingers, a credit card, but I prefer to use one of these vinyl applicators. Check your corners, clean up your edges, and allow it to dry before moving to the next step. Now we're going to seal our project. First step is to lightly sand over the edges of your paper to make sure there are no loose edges that will lift later. Always sand downward so you don't accidentally lift your paper. Next, grab your chalk or your ink to put on the edges if you want a shaded look. Just grab your pad or brush and lightly brush down on the craft edges. I use light pressure to apply because I can always add more, but I can't take it off if I put too much. Once that's dry, it's time to apply my top coat. This protects my craft as well as gives it a nice luster to show it off. You can use Mod Podge or polyurethane. This time we'll use the water-based polyurethane. Once this is dry, I can add any accessories or glitter. For the glitter, first step is to choose your glue. For our base, I'm going to use the polyurethane again. For the top coat, I'll use the clear spray. Grab the glitter that matches your paint and place foil underneath your craft. Apply the glue to the craft in a light, even layer. Sprinkle the glitter over the entire craft, making sure to cover the whole surface evenly. Don't worry about using too much here. Tip your craft over to dust off the excess glitter. From here you can pour the glitter back into the container. As you can see, we barely used any. When applying the top coat, you must use a spray. You cannot use a brush here. Let that dry and make sure it covered the whole surface. If you choose to, you can use a glitter spray to coat the sides of your project. This can take a little patience to learn how to apply it, but it's well worth it at the end. Now your project is complete.
Realwood Creations. Come find your creative side.